Welcome to my video where I will discuss 4 different kinds of online assessment technology and kind of give an intro to each one and how I would use it in a classroom. So the first technology that I will mention is Kahoot. So this is a really popular online assessment technology, and after using it, I can understand why. So here's a quiz that I created. So this is geared towards 2nd grade and it's a mathematics quiz. So as you can see, Kahoot gives you the option to upload an image. And so I've done that for every question here. And so some of them are multiple choice, but they're also true, false. And then I've also included a video in this one. That's nice that Kahoot lets you do that in the free version of this. So just as an example, here's that video. And then Kahoot also allows you to upload images to your answer section, which I think is really important as well. And it's nice that that is a free option. So in the following question, I have done a short answer option. And so Kahoot is nice because it will grade the short answer portion. And also it allows you to upload various images various answers. So for example, I needed an equation here, but I did some with spaces. I did the other one without spaces. So that way, depending on how you type it, you could still get the correct answer if that's what you were giving. All right, so let's look at how we would get the reports of our quizzes after we got it. So as you can see, I've done a few testers here. So if you click into this, you can kind of see there's the summary, the number of players, the questions with a breakdown of correct and incorrect, and then there's a feedback form. We have no feedback just because I created this quiz yesterday, and I don't think it's public yet. So if I wanted to go and download these reports, then I could do that here. And then I could also view this Kahoot here. All right, and so if I wanted to give this assessment, I would go back to my library and I would select play here. And there are several options here. There's a player versus player, team versus team. There are options here where you can have a friendly nickname generator. So you can turn that on and off depending on if this quiz is for a grade and whether you want to protect student anonymity as well, because their names do show on the leaderboard. And then there's also like a 2-step join button, which I don't think is really necessary for elementary school students. So let's take a look at this classic gameplay here. So students would join on their personal device, either using this URL or the app. And so they would enter this PIN, and that's where they would begin the quiz. So in addition to being able to create your own really customized assessments, there is also a way where you can go and see what other people on Kahoot have created. And so there are Kahoot Academy verified teachers. You can also search by topic or just go and be free and search in the search bar over here. And that is Kahoot. Up next is Plickers. It's also another really popular assessment technology, but I will say it is quite a bit different than Kahoot. So I found, and we'll get into that in just a minute. So let's take a look at the assessment that I created here. So there are 5 questions, similar, but quite a little bit different. So for example, I can upload our images, and then I can have multiple choices here. But I can't really do true, false. I kind of was able to simulate true, false here. True or false, there are columns in this array, and then A is true and B is false because I was able to eliminate answers C and D. But yeah, there's not really an option for videos, and there's also not a great option for, having images in these answers. But there are other benefits to Plickers, and one of the main ones in my mind is that you don't have to have a device as a student to be able to participate in this. And so with Kahoot, students are using like their cell phone or a tablet or even a computer and entering the answers on their own. But for Plickers, all you really need is paper. So this is what the Plickers cards look like. So this is just a PDF that a teacher could use to print these out. Or you can purchase them, I believe, from Amazon. So they're they're pretty simple. So each card in the set is different. So they're unique. And so a student would just, if they were taking the test, if the correct answer was A, they would just rotate this card counterclockwise to where A would be up at the top, and so on. So, pretty low tech on the student's end, which, might be good for students who don't have access to the greatest technology or who don't have a great data plan or, something else. Plickers would be a great option, even though the quiz setup itself is more simple. So, let me see if I can just demo this for a minute. So they set up a demonstration class, a demo class. And so, and I won't go through like trying to get everything on my phone and with the paper, even though I have tried it and it works pretty well. So here's kind of what the quiz looks like. And so this is what students would see. They'd hold up their answer. The teacher would scan using the Plickers app on their device. And then what would show up is just kind of a percentage of who guessed what. But again, there's a lot more control over what students have access to as far as the data that is seen. All right, so let's imagine that we finished this quiz and we'll go over here to our score sheet. And so we'll go to our demo class here. And so I have been playing as guest number 1 to test this out so you can see the questions that I've looked at. And if I wanted to print this report per student, I could do that as well. So it's really easy just to get the assessment data that you need and keep it moving. All right, and then like Kahoot, there is this discover function where you can go find, other tests that people have made because both of these platforms that I mentioned so far are really popular. There's a great wealth of information that's out there. And that's Plickers. Okay, and here is Quizziz. So this one is really set up a lot like Kahoot, but I will say that some of the features of Quizziz are kind of behind a paywall, which I don't like as much, and is depending on your district and kind of what is allowed and what subscriptions your school and your district have, might kind of be a bummer. So for example, the questions, there are a lot of different ways to phrase your question. So for example, here's just I'm able to upload an image, and then I have my multiple choice. And then I do have kind of a short answer here where students it's a fill in the blank. And so I'm selecting 2 possible answers. So the numeral 2 and then written out 2. And then I'm able to include images here as part of my answers. And then I'm also able, and then there's a short answer here. But one thing is that, I'm not able to include a YouTube video without paying, and there's not a monthly option. It's just like $75 here, please. So wasn't loving that as much. But if your district has a subscription to this, that would be great. So here is what my quiz would look like here. And I will say there are also more options as far as what students can see on the leaderboard, but it is set up similar to, students using a device in order to access instead of having the paper card option like Plickers. So let's do this classic. And so yes, there are examples of kind of what you can show. So I can turn this leaderboard off. I can also shuffle questions because this classic version is a self-paced version here. And so I'm going to click this link here to kind of see, so you can see the game setup here. So my name is Anne Anderson. I don't have the nicknames turned on. I'm the first to join. And so I'll start. And so I've got 2 tabs running, so this is not super ideal. So this is kind of what it looks like. So that's my answer. And then it does a really funny meme here. And then it kind of shows my leaderboard here. And I can also check this to where it only shows the top 5. So let me pause this. And then I get into my quiz here. Yes, I went to end. And so yeah, here is what this looks like. And so after my quiz is ended, I'm able to go over here and look at my reports. And so there are quite a few. This is one that I completed in full. So we can take a look at this. This is when I had the random name generator on, some Clove Chastain. And so you can see the questions breakdown. And then you can also see and the number of students who selected which answer. Here's the overview. And so this last question is a short answer. And also this short answer question is not really graded in the same way you can't enter answer options like you can on Kahoot there. So yeah, I could download this result here. And so I'd have that down here in a nice Excel spreadsheet. So I've wanted to go explore. There are many other quizzes that I could use for instruction in my class, and that is Quizziz. And lastly, we have Socrative. I believe that's how you say it. I had never heard of this testing technology. That doesn't mean that it's not widely used, but it is quite a bit different, I would feel like, than the other things that we looked at just in terms of usability. And it seems much more, kind of hidden behind a paywall and maybe more teacher-centered. And it's definitely not, it doesn't have some of the gamification that we've seen and some of other examples that we've looked at. So here's the quiz that I created. So really similar to the other ones. There's a true, false, short answer, and multiple choice option. We can see the images that I've been able to put in here. Again, no video capability, sadly, and also not an ability to put images as part of the answers here. But for the short answer, I can enter multiple options here, which is nice. So again, here are choices: multiple choice, true, false, and short answer. So let us launch a quiz, and it took me a while. It's not super intuitive to learn how to do this. So I just want to launch a quiz. I'm going to select this array formative assessment. And so I'm going to select this as teacher paste. And so we can see an example here. Now, the way that the students would connect to this is that they would actually have to go to, and this is unless you have the paid version and have students loaded in, but it does seem pretty steep price-wise. So you would have student login, and then you would actually have to read students. Oh, let me see if I can go back. So this code to the room here. So it'd be Anderson 4779. So they'd come in and type this out here. And so that's how they would get in. So there's no really prompt for students to do that. So as long as they've gotten the hang of it, cool. But maybe not super easy to get started that first time. So let's go back and let's launch this quiz here. So we're going to do array formative assessment. We're going to do teacher paste. And so I have this up on my phone here so we can simulate how this works. Okay, and so how many rows are in this array? We've got 3 rows. So I'm going to submit my answer, and then we see 1 out of 1 students answered. And so I can show our results here, and as you can see, hides my name, which is nice, and it would show kind of the percentage of students that answered. So that anonymity is nice, just to prevent feelings for getting hurt or confidence to suffer, or to prevent some of our more competitive students from, being a little obnoxious about it. So there is that. And I'll go ahead and finish up this quiz. So that's how we would end it. I know it's a little premature. And so this is our report section here. And so as you can see, when you finish the quiz, it immediately takes you to the reports. But we can look at one where I completed our quiz here. And so we can see the totals, and then we can also share these and export them. So we can export them as a PDF, the result summary PDF. So a little bit more robust than some of our other free options here. So yeah, and then there isn't like a great way to go find other people that had created things on Socrative, it seems kind of more like there's not a great way to share. So I haven't really found one. As far as an example, they kind of give you an example to get started. So there's this world facts quiz. But yeah, it doesn't seem like teachers are really encouraged to kind of borrow from each other's work. And so that is Socrative. That's a new one for me.